My name is Julian Cuddy.
My name's Michael Fitzpatrick.
Let's go. I'm 23 years old. How old are you?
I'm 21 years old.
21 years old.
Yes, sir.
How long have you been working in door to door for?
About 2 years now.
About 2 years. What made you want to join when you first got in?
Money.
Since you worked here in door to door, what has been your biggest paycheck in the past 2 years?
Biggest paycheck's probably been about $12,000.
Bi-weekly.
Yeah, in a 2-week span.
What would you say is the meaning of life?
I would say most everything doesn't really matter. I think Jinxie said it the best. Like, in 246 years, like, no one's really gonna remember like who you are, what you did out here. So I think you should just have fun and do what you want to do, as long as it's not morally wrong and it's not affecting anybody negatively.
Yeah. Yeah, sometimes I battle with like that whole kind of feeling about like the meaning of life. Cause it's like, dude, like I listened to Elon Musk's like a biography,
Okay.
and that guy is like building like actual rocket ships, and I'm like, dude, I'm not building rocket ships, so like, should I like propel like the future of humanity? Like, I don't know, cause like even Elon Musk, do you think that like his changes are gonna change like the future? I don't know. Like it's interesting.
I think Elon Musk definitely is going to have like huge impacts on the future, but I don't think everybody can be Elon Musk, and so I don't think you should put yourself down for not having like the same kind of effect on humanity. I think you should just do your own thing and something that is fulfilling to you.
That makes sense. That makes sense.
To ride off of that, I don't think Elon Musk would live a very fulfilling life going door to door and just like doing stuff like that, you know? He's got bigger aspirations than that, and for him, being happy is doing like changing humanity.
Yeah. What is your life quest?
I want to travel the world. Obviously, I've got a 3-year-old as well, so I want to make sure that he can drive a Mercedes when he's 16, because that's not something that I got to do.
Yeah. So you think that like for you, it's like predominantly giving your son a better life than what you had?
100%.
Interesting. Why do you think that is like kind of your life quest? Like,
So, I mean, growing up, and we didn't really have like a whole lot. I mean, it was pretty spread thin. I had a lot of siblings, and so having like a bougie lifestyle or being able to travel the world and see the world, it was never really like an option that was laid out in front of me. And so it's always been like an aspiration for me to just get to that next level to be able to give that to him.
how much money do you think is enough? Because your biggest paycheck is way more than probably 95% of America. Like $11,000 in a 2-week span is pretty good. I mean, obviously there were like some bonuses that hit at that same time, so like it wasn't just what you made in 2 weeks. But how much do you think is enough? Like for a week, a month, a year? Like what would you say?
I don't really have a basis for like a week or like a month. I would say I would like to, right now, at least $10,000 a month. And then by the time I'm 30, I want to be able to be making at least $300,000 to $350,000 every single year.
Yeah.
But I think that the enough number is going to substantially get bigger and bigger as I hit the next step.
Yeah. I kind of weigh that like myself as well. Like I always see myself like, dude, like, so prior to me working in door to door, I was like a carpenter and I was making 40 grand a year. And I would constantly tell myself like, dude, if I were to just hit that 6-figure mark, I'm golden. Like life is set, life is good. And I'm there now. And it's like, dude, maybe just a little bit more would feel better. So I don't know.
No, and I've always had like the same kind of mindset. Like back when I was growing up, it's like, yeah, as long as I can make $100,000 a year, like I'll be able to do whatever I want.
Yeah.
And now I'm making well over $100,000 a year, and I'm not doing whatever I want.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm in like the exact same boat. I mean, I definitely like, I have like, I don't know, the basis of an American dream. Like I have my own home. Like I don't rent. I have my own home. But it's still like, damn, like I don't have that yet. Yeah. I don't know. I don't even know like what that even means. Like traveling the world. Like I could probably travel the world like right now if I really wanted to. I just haven't yet.
So I think that ties back into like what the meaning of life is, and like having fun with it and just like doing your own thing. It's like you have a lot of like goals and aspirations that are based off like a lot of social standards that you've put on yourself.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, find something that you love and do it at the end of the day. And I think that if you can be fulfilled doing that, then you'll see a lot less of like the need for money and more like the need to actually go and do those things that you actually love.
Yeah. This is kind of a pivot from like life, but I'm curious to get like your opinion on it. What do you think happens after we die?
Nothing.
Nothing?
Yeah, I think the brain shuts off and it's just done. Personally.
So that's it. Like once you're done, once you're dead, it's like capiche. See you later.
Yeah, I mean, I think that consciousness is like a pretty crazy like concept, and I mean, like potentially like reincarnation, but I think that once your brain's done, it's done, man.
Your main goal is to become, like, your main goal in life is to give your kid like what he wants.
Yeah.
So it sounds like you're less caring about yourself and more just caring about your kid and like everything that your kid wants.
Well, yeah, but also in order to achieve that goal of like letting him do whatever he wants whenever he's my age, if I just didn't really care about myself or didn't do things for myself, I wouldn't have the inspiration or the commitment to those goals.
Yeah.
I would probably just be depressed.
Yeah.
So,
Where do you see yourself in 10 years?
big house, driving a Porsche,
Whipping it?
whipping it,
Do you still see yourself here in the same business?
for sure.
Interesting. But you see yourself like here for a long time.
Oh, dude, I'll retire in the business. To be honest, like they've given me the tools to achieve every single thing that I've wanted in my life, and they've leveled me up so far. And sure, I mean, like I put in a lot of work to get to the point that I'm at, but I wouldn't have put in that work if they didn't show me the opportunity.
Yeah. And it's weird. So what made you want to get into door-to-door?
I didn't at first. So I had a family member that was doing door to door, and he would come home from work, and I would literally look at him and be like, "Yeah, that's lame." And
What was the turning point?
he went into like another part of the business, like got promoted, and then his job was like 10 times harder than door to door.
Yeah.
And so I was like, "Man, I could probably do door to door."
And now you're making crazy money.
Making crazy money.
That's crazy. Yeah, because you've been here for 2 years. I've been here for like 5 months now. I mean, it's interesting. Yeah, like door-to-door is, because this is your first ever door-to-door job, right?
Yeah, I've always been in the food industry before this.
What were you doing before this?
So I managed at Whataburger for a little bit, and then I ran like 4 or 5 different Domino's stores as like a manager that kind of drove around town and just like checked on the stores and made sure they were all running right.
You were a regional manager?
I mean, without the title, but yeah.
Yeah, but basically. What would you say, like, to somebody that like just enters, what would you say, or like what would you recommend?
Stick with it. I mean, especially if like you can see yourself doing it for a long time. Like the beginning of it is always going to be tough, and you probably aren't going to make the money that you want to make in the beginning of it. But if you can imagine yourself making the money that you want to be making and still enjoying your job, stick with it, because eventually you're going to take those steps up and you're going to get to that point. Like my first year at the business was not anything that I was like super proud of,
Yeah.
but I stuck with it, and now I'm doing better than I ever would have imagined.
Yeah. Like I'm just thinking about like the whole like door-to-door realm, and the reality of the matter is that you have to like overcome like getting rejection like all day long. Like we're in the business of getting rejected. Like we're professional rejectionists. Except like we're on the receiving end of it. How do you overcome a tough day at work when it's like when you're hours into it and nobody's interested, nobody's giving you the time of day? Like what do you do?
I mean, it happens on a week-to-week basis at least once.
Yeah.
To where like I'll be most of the way through my day and it'll just be like not a lot of interactions and I'm not where I want to be on that specific day. Just keeping your head in it. Like I've been doing this for 2 years. I've got a lot of experience with getting rejection, and then I've also overcame it and had good days after the first half was bad. And so just keeping that in mind that I've had tougher battles.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, just kind of like keeping your head in it. Like how do you like what's your favorite way to recover after like a bad day where it's like you're back home and it was a bad day and like nobody said yes to you or anything like that?
Hanging out with family. They do a good job of like boosting me up, especially my girlfriend, letting me know that it's really not that bad, and then keeping in mind that there's always tomorrow, there's always the day after that, there's many more weeks to come that are gonna put this bad day behind me.
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. I don't know. Like I feel like for the new people that I train that like join the job, it's like the hardest thing is like they'll have a bad day and they're like, well, I guess my life's over. And it's like, no. But I just like, I don't know, like, I mean, you and I are obviously both pretty good. So like those days aren't like that frequent. But like for the days that like does happen, like it's just kind of like spending time with family, kind of like clearing your head. How do you kind of like going into the next day, like what do you do to like kind of help yourself like refocus?
For one, positive mindset and just like your energy level. It's like obviously you just had a bad day, and it's really easy to go in the next day with a lot less energy and a lot of like that negative traction, so to speak, and just like pushing that aside and finding ways to boost your energy level. Like sometimes I'll literally skip down the street just to kind of like get myself in like that jolly mood, you know?
Yeah.
And it's like people respond to that very well.
Yeah. That's kind of, what's your favorite like warm-up thing that like to chit chat with people about?
I like talking to people about like how long they've been in the neighborhood and how much it's all changed. Because I mean, like if you live in a city, I mean it's constantly changing around you, becoming more like industrialized and stuff like that. It's cool to see like how long people have been there and how like it was just basically all country back then. You know, like I grew up in Keller, Texas, and I mean back before I was born, Keller wasn't even a city or a town. You know, it was just Fort Worth. And then shortly before I was born, they made it a town and then started adding houses. So if I talk to anybody that's been there for longer than I've been alive, they'll tell you about just how it was like a countryside.
Interesting. What's been your craziest story working door to door?
I mean, it was nothing like that. One time this lady like zoomed out of her driveway and like did a full reverse U-turn and just smashed into another car. And then, yeah, she looked at my walking partner because she thought it was his car, and he just like kind of waved at her, and she took that as like, oh, no big deal, and she just left.
What?
So like a full-on hit and run, and then there were like probably 7 old ladies like that like came and like crowded around the car and were like asking us a bunch of questions like, oh, what happened? I was like,
why?
Yeah.
When did this happen?
This is probably 3 or 4 months into my career.
Oh my God. That's crazy. So have you ever had like threats made against your life like when you were working here, or like people like being like harassing you or like threats?
Not a lot of that. I mean, I have had people that come out the door with like a gun.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just like human nature. I mean, they don't know who I am. They don't know why I'm at their door, and they're just erring on the side of caution. I mean, I have had like quite a few people just like get upset that I'm at their door and asking like, why am I pounding on their door and ringing their doorbell? But once again, just human nature. So I don't blame anybody for that.
How do you diffuse like homeowners or people that you're talking to that are like angry? Like, how do you calm them down?
A lot of times, I mean, you can't. I mean, just talk to it, but talk to them with a calm voice. Be understanding as to why that they're angry. I mean, every single person lives the same exact life as you do with their own individual problems.
Yeah.
Everybody's got something on their plate that they don't want to be dealing with, and it's really easy for us to like knock on their door, and that just adds another thing onto their plate. They're like, oh dang, now I got to go deal with this salesperson.
Yeah.
And they've already got all this other like stress coming in from all angles. So I mean, just understanding that they're a person too, and talking to them in a calm manner, and being understanding of whether they do or don't want it.
Interesting. Within the door-to-door realm, what would you say like to recommend to look for, like qualities that a job has?
I mean, it really depends on your standards. But I mean, for me, I want a company that has like a good moral standpoint. Like they're not scamming people, they're not tricking people into getting them to do what they want. Honesty is the best policy.
Yeah. If you were to die tonight and you knew that you were dying tonight at midnight tonight, how would you spend your remaining 16 hours?
With my kid and my girlfriend.
I feel that.
Maybe go to Legoland or something.
I feel that. That's pretty awesome. Well, Michael, I think this is a pretty awesome interview. Thank you so much for giving me your time.
Yeah.
I hope it wasn't too weird.
No, nothing weird at all. Thanks for having me on your YouTube.
Okay, let's go. Please subscribe. Can you tell them to subscribe?
You better hit that like button and subscribe.
Let's go.